You want to support Roland Barber Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Barber Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. This weekend in San Francisco, Democrats gathered for their annual meeting, and a number of people addressed the Democrats there, and one of them was Rev Dr William Barber, who talked about the importance of the poor people's movement, trying to get Democrats all across this country to understand the need to mobilize poor folks in this country. He is the co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, and of course, he made the case for a moral movement in this country to address issues like racism, poverty, the environment, and war. Here's an excerpt of what he had to say to the DNC.
I want you to know that the left versus right, Democrat versus Republican, conservative versus liberal framework has allowed people to do what's wrong while we call it right. Huh? Blocking health care is not the right. Being about voter suppression is not the right. And left versus right is too puny. The language is too small. It doesn't help us have the kind of moral imagination that's necessary in this moment of generational change. And we must declare no more. We need a revolution of values in public life. We need leadership that will draw on our deepest religious and constitutional tradition to fight not only for what seems achievable, but what must be our moral duty. Somebody asked me, as a Christian, am I a conservative or a liberal? I say I'm both. I say because there are 2,000 scriptures in the Bible that said the primary purpose of every nation is to care for the poor, the children, the sick, the women, and the immigrants. So to be a conservative is just to hold on to the essence of. So I want to hold on to the essence of, and I want to liberally spread it to everybody. Don't get trapped in labels. And then 7, and finally, we need fusion organizing to build a moral movement. This is not the time to turn on each other. It is the time to turn to each other. It is the time to understand that interlocking injustices require a moral fusion interlocking movement. When we embrace moral language, we must ask, does our policy care for the least of these? Does it lift up those who are most marginalized and dejected in our society? Does it establish justice? That is the moral question. If someone calls it socialism, then we must compel them to acknowledge that the Bible must then promote socialism. Because Jesus offered free health care to everyone, and he never charged a leper a copay. It's time for us to say, if you want to have a moral debate, bring it on, baby. The Bible says that a nation will be judged by how it treats the poor and the sick and women and the immigrant. The Bible says that God makes it rain on the just and the unjust alike. If you want to call caring for folks socialism, then the Constitution is a socialist document because it calls us to promote the general welfare and to establish justice. Why are we afraid to use the language welfare when every politician swears to promote general welfare? We can't be scared of labels. This current administration is practicing, though, a kind of socialism. It's called corporate socialism. You give to the greedy through tax cuts and deregulation and economic incentives and deregulating of energy companies. And they refuse to bail out communities and human beings, but they'll bail out businesses. That's called treating corporations like people and people like things. And we need political leaders who will stand up and say that helping people who are in need is a moral issue. It lines up with our deepest religious values and our deepest constitutional values. That it's not about being on the far left. Y'all stop using that language that gets you trapped. It ain't about being on the far right. It ain't about being Democrat or Republican. How dare anyone say that blocking living wages is the right, denying people health care is right? Some things are not about left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. It's about right versus wrong. A moral message can energize the people who feel left out, Tom, and looked over by the whole framing of the system as it is. And we've seen how it can bring people together, those people that have been pitted against one another, especially in the South. Now, I'm from the South, where many politicians support the current administration and still play the divisions of lies and racism. But my Democrats, you all got to do a little repenting too. How you haven't always come south with everything you have. The South is the native home of poverty. The 13 former Confederate states, 52.7 million people are poor and low income. 25 million are white, 28 million are people of color, 13 million people without insurance. The number of poor people in those 13 states is more than 1/3 of the total number of poor people in the country. The number of poor whites in those states, the 13 states, is also more than 1/3 of the total poor white people in this country. But if you could come south, and if you win in the South, you know just 13 states gives you 170 electoral voters, and 26 senators, and 31% of the United States House. And what we learned in North Carolina is they don't fight us being together because we're weak. They fight us being together because we're strong. And any party that will be willing to engage poor and low-wealth black, white, and brown people across the South and energize them to vote, not just with a last-minute robocall, but with real serious organizing, then it's a new day. These states aren't red states. They are unorganized states. They are underfunded states. They are states where we have found fusion coalition that are waiting to be called the higher ground.
Come on. That was Rev William Barber. Again, you can go to YouTube to check out the full speech there. Michael, I'm going to start with you. His message to the Democrats there, critically important. If you look at what Carter did in 75, 76, he put it in moral terms as to why he should be elected, coming out of the reign of terror of Richard Nixon. This is a party, if we really want to be honest, that has been afraid to use words like that, moral language, religious language. They've been, in some ways, hostile to religion. And I think if they truly listen to what he is saying, they need to be able to reframe some of these issues in moral terms.
And you can't be scared about the church or the synagogue or the mosque, because I think there's a whether perceived or not, that there's a view that the far left don't want to get church and synagogue and mosque all mixed up in our politics. So we have to stay away from that message. But clearly there are a lot of people that like that kind of message, hence why, and I have to credit Chairman Perez for asking Reverend Barber to come and speak, because a lot of people would not have done that.
And in fact, they asked both parties to come and speak. Republicans have refused them thus far of speaking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, Reverend Barber is a brilliant leader who released a moral budget in June of this year. He had people from all 50 states come to talk about the moral budget, and he's about to kick off like a 9 or 10 month tour, which will culminate with a Poor People's March on June 20th, 2020. I think it was brilliant for the Democrats to have him there, but I wish that they had pushed more. There should be a debate with these presidential candidates that focuses solely on poverty. They basically rejected the notion of single-issue debates, and also there was some back and forth around whether there should be a climate change debate. But if there is to be a single-issue debate, it must be on poverty.
Well, see, the problem with them framing it that way, Dr. Carter, that poverty is not a single-issue debate. It actually touches education, it touches economics, it touches health, it touches so many different areas. So I don't see this as a single issue. I see it as a significant issue that hits all kinds of different areas.
And it hits all of their constituencies. And I think what Reverend Barber has been pushing on, even when he had them come, when he had the Poor People's event in D.C., is you have to talk to all the people all the time. And you can't do what the Democrats have been doing, which has really been very tepid about poverty, about social welfare, about black folks, to be quite frank. And I think, I mean, there was more in that comment there that you are leaving these people behind because, one, you know they're captured, so you don't have to do anything really hard to win their vote, because what's the alternative? These crazy Republicans, and that's not going to work. But he's saying you left all of these voters on the table. It really reminded me of Jesse Jackson's old speech about the little rocks laying around, talking about how he registered these black voters, and he said Ronald Reagan won by the margin of despair. And I think this is that kind of thing that Reverend Barber is talking about. The Democrats don't win in the South because the Democrats gave up on the South. They gave up on black people. They gave up on poor people, poor white folks. They gave up on the South. And we've seen real possibility in the South, not just because of the work that Reverend Barber is doing, but Stacey Abrams, Andrew Gillum, they have shown that the South is in play if the Democrats get off their butts and do the work. And he's doing the work for them.
And invest the resources necessary to do so. And so
the South was in play in '92, though, and '88. I mean, the reason President Clinton did so well in the South is because the Democratic Party selected a Southern governor.
But then you turn around to 2016, and the South is basically being ignored. So the numbers that Reverend Barber put out there are the compelling numbers. A third of the poor people in the South. 41%, what did he say? 41% of the Congress. You know,
no, he said 31% of the Congress. But the problem that you have, again, with Democrats going south is it forces them to have to talk directly to broke-ass white people.
Yeah.
See, it's real simple. If you go to Alabama and Florida, and you go to North Carolina, you go to South Carolina, you go to Mississippi and Arkansas and Louisiana and Texas, you talk to black people or maybe Latinos. But it forces them to have a conversation to broke-ass white people that y'all broke. And Obama was afraid to do this. I mean, I can tell you, on several occasions, I said to him directly, dude, stop having these health care events in the suburbs of Ohio and Virginia. No, go to the brokest, sickest, whitest part of Alabama and Mississippi and say, I passed the Affordable Care Act for y'all broke, sick-ass white folks.
And it's a policy.
And I said, because they're walking around thinking, we ain't that sick. I'm like, no, you need to say, these are your health rates. And that's being honest with them, because you got broke-ass white people walking around thinking, we ain't really broke. No, y'all broke.
And y'all are sick. And and they wanted the Affordable Care Act. They didn't even know that that's what they wanted.
Got them dumbasses in Kentucky who voted for a Tea Party governor, who voted for Trump, and 4 days after the election was saying, man, I sure hope that if they don't touch our Affordable Care Act. Dumbass! You just voted for 2 people who want to get rid of the Affordable Care Act because them fools are walking around saying we can't send Obamacare. Well, I mean, some folk are so dumb they don't even realize how dumb they are, and you got to be willing to go there and say, how many of y'all don't like Obamacare? Hands go up. How many of y'all love the Affordable Care Act? Hands go up. It's the same thing, dummies.
Well, you know, West Virginia is proof positive of everything that you're saying. Well, with the mining industry there, and those folks losing their health care.
That is health care. 1,000 miners just 2 weeks ago got laid off. They checks bounce. They won't return phone calls. And I'm like, where's McConnell and Trump?
And they were bringing those jobs back, remember, because the mining industry was going to take off again.
Yeah, sometimes you got. All I'm saying is you got to tell dumb white people some basic stuff to say, y'all dumb. They playing you.
Now, Roland, if you tell the white people that they dumb.
No. No, you got to see. No, if you dance around stuff, that's how you lose. Howard Dean had it right when he said God gave us guns. Okay, that's what appealed to dumb white voters. And I'm calling them people like, well, why are you calling them dumb? No, you're dumb if you keep voting against your own interest, okay? If you actually think you're going to be rich like Trump one day, you're not, okay? It ain't going to happen. So y'all sitting around thinking, oh, yeah, it's going to happen one day. No, you've got to be outside of your mind. If you are voting for somebody who said, I'm going to sit here and solve the opioid crisis, who put in charge in the White House of the program a 25-year-old boy whose only leadership that he had on his resume was he was in the Boy Scouts. And when they got called out, they like, damn, we got to get rid of this boy. That's who you put in charge. And they're running around going, yeah, but Trump. Because you know why? It used to be God, gays, and guns. You know what it is now? God, guns, and legal immigration. And that's the problem. They are walking around saying, that's right, it's those illegals. That's why we don't have any jobs. I'm like, no, fool. It's the Chamber of Commerce who screwed y'all and to move jobs overseas. It's the folks who refuse to fund education. It's the folks who refuse to do any sort of job training. And when you have a West Virginia town with 100 and some odd thousand people, and they drop 3 million pills in 1 year on your town, you might want to be saying, who the hell got all of us high?
And who profited?
And it wasn't black people.
Where's the profit?
That's all I'm saying.
You know, just follow the money here. I mean, I think that one of the things that people don't talk about enough is the term predatory capitalism. I mean, basically, you have allowed these corporations to thingify, in the words of Dr. King, thingify people. And so we can follow the money with Big Pharma. We know that they're making money, and we know that who they're contributing to as well.
And the same companies, same folks who can't stand labor unions, and these same people, these same broke white folks, are going, labor unions are bad. And I'm going, but your ass broke.
And you have no protections on your job. You can be fired at will in these right-to-work states.
And you broke.
Yeah. And white supremacy, your interest, though, this is what you think works for you.
And you broke.
But hey, being white sometimes is more valuable to people than money.
Some people, but see, they think they can eat white.
Exactly.
They think they can eat white. It's
I'm
like a
saying
meal,
that.
white.
White folks just want to help y'all out. Want to help y'all out. White broke and black broke. That's what it is. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, November 7th through 11th, I want y'all to join me in Cabo, Mexico for the Life Luxe Jazz Experience, folks. It's going to be an amazing, top-notch music and upscale destination. The weekend-long event is going to be held at the Omnia Day Club in Los Cabos. Ooh, looks real good. Of course, nestled in the Sea of Cortez and the celebrity playground of Los Cabos, Mexico. The Life Luxe Jazz Experience offers a huge event for jazz aficionados, and folks are going to have food, going to have music, all those fun things, luxury accommodations, you name it, taking place, including golf and spa, health and wellness options for all of you. You got big names in entertainment for the second annual Life Luxe Jazz Experience. Among those folks who have been, of course, confirmed, comedian actor Mark Curry, my frat Gerald Albright, Alex Bouillon, Raul Madon, Incognito, Pieces of a Dream, my favorite Kirk Whalum, Average White Band, gospel artist Donnie McClurkin, Shalea, Roy Ayers, Tom Brown, Ronnie Laws, and Ernest Quarles. An amazing lineup of folks that you want to be able to check out, folks. You're going to come on down to Cabo. And in fact, we're going to be doing Roland Martin Unfiltered there on the 7th and the 8th, that Thursday and Friday, right there from Cabo. It's going to be a phenomenal opportunity. Those of y'all who are in, of course, the cold areas in the country, yeah, come on, give me the beach back. In the cold areas of the country, come on down to Cabo for those days in November. It's going to be fantastic. For more information, please visit the website at lifeluxejazz.com, lifeluxejazz.com. I would love to see you there. My birthday is right about 3 days after that, so we can also make it a birthday celebration. And so it's going to be a phenomenal experience. Go to lifeluxejazz.com if you're looking for a great opportunity. Got some great packages running anywhere from $1,300 up to $2,000. But again, jazz concerts, food, music. We're going to have a grand time. And see, there'll be one of those folks who go, dang, I wish I had gone. You got an opportunity. So go to lifeluxejazz.com right now for all of the details. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.